Hey everybody, Resident Loser Jeremy here. Setting up to do a little guitar recording, but I came across an interview of a band that I did months ago at this point and just wasn't able to release it because the band hadn't released their music. This was a unique experience producing a vocal for a band in a language that's not my native tongue. I don't really get to do a whole lot of vocalist interviews anyway. When you try to film that process, observe it with the camera and kind of break it down, it's a little bit like a Schrodinger's cat situation or Schrodinger's vocalist. You change the outcome of the session because of the fact that you're recording it, if that makes any sense. But in this situation, this vocalist was brought in late in the game. We had recorded most of the record. In this case, this was a Puerto Rican group doing like a metal record, and she was brought in kind of late in the process. She ended up doing 4 straight 8-hour days of vocals, which is a marathon for any vocalist. And I wanted to document how she got through it, what worked, what didn't, because it's not often that we get to kind of peer into these vocal sessions like this, especially one of this magnitude and of this particular difficulty, producing a vocal in a language that I don't speak, and kind of how we got through that. So just as an interview I did with Liza Giusti, a Puerto Rican band, INKAUSA. I've linked their song down in the description below. Go give them a follow. Enjoy the interview.
Well, I'm Liza Giusti, and I'm Puerto Rican. I've been in Colorado for 10 years and singing since I moved there. I first started studying, working, doing the typical thing, raising my child. And then picked up on the singing again, salsa singing, Latin music, and just recently embarked this thing where I'm like singing rock.
So this is very different. This is a very heavy record. Very different. How did you meet these guys?
They have a friend in Colorado that had seen me performing there, singing salsa and merengue and bachata and all that. And I think that he was the one who gave them my name and number. So they contacted me over Christmas and said, well, sure, send me some songs. Actually, that day I had came back from the ENT, and that day the ENT had asked me to just shut up for 15 days to take care of.
So you were on vocal rest?
Yes. And so this was all through text. I'm like, dang, I have to wait 15 days. So they were like, yeah, it's okay. Just take your time, listen to the songs. When you're feeling better, let us know if you can do it. 15 days later, I call him and say, okay, I can't do it.
So you just got done doing 4 straight days of vocals. We knocked out 12 songs. And like I was talking to you before, it's rare that I get to kind of break down what that process is. And a lot of people on the channel are asking kind of how to produce vocals. And I can't help but say enough, like everyone is very, very different. But I wanted to talk through a little bit of this process of like what worked for you, what you thought was interesting, because I mean, what is your experience in like a studio setting? Well,
any other that seeing other people recording, I've never recorded myself. It's been on my mind, but live. Like,
So this is kind of like
was my first time recording my songs.
Well, 4 days is not typical for somebody in their first try. So I guess what was your biggest takeaway from it? Was there something that you thought really worked that finally clicked and then we started rolling? Like what?
Yeah. I think it was very helpful. Well, first of all, thank you, because it was really easy to communicate with you. Feel like you understand me and I understood you and all that stuff. But yeah, it was very helpful to go through the whole song first, just to kind of like get the basic idea of the song, and then go and play with the melodies and do we really want to do this or that, and then go and record again the song with the actual energy and what we wanted to do. And
that's not something I do with everyone, but what we found worked for her in this instance was she had her kind of preconceptions of what the song was along with the band, because you guys did your own pre-production.
Right.
So we had her go in and sing it actually in the studio, actually with the mic we're going to be using, and then we sat back and looked at like reworking those melodies and what makes the song flow and getting rid of sections, adding sections. Right. There were a few instances where we kind of messed with the lyrics a little bit, and that process is so different with everybody, but when we found what worked for you, it just went. Another thing I want to touch on is vocal fatigue, because that was 4 days in the studio, 8 hours straight singing. That's a marathon.
Yes, it is.
So, and you have some background, you're trained. You have some training, you have a good teacher. You obviously have things that you do. What do you think helped you get through that amount of singing?
Well, I take a lot of care of myself. I drink a lot of water. And I think I had a bottle of electrolytes every day too, water with electrolytes. I need my sleep. I know that if I don't sleep a minimum 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours when I have to sing, it doesn't work. Now, if I sleep well, drink plenty of water, I take my vitamins, my everyday vitamins, you know, eat as healthy as possible. I do exercise a lot. I couldn't exercise this week because of the amount of hours I've been here, but you know, just keeping up with those really basic things, it really helps me because I need my whole body to sing. And so how did I do in 4 days here? I think that probably the good sleep, the water, and the good food. Knowing that you were so helpful.
Well, I think the first day you mentioned you didn't get good sleep.
The first day was rough, yes, because that night, you know, it's when I flew here, and then the bed was uncomfortable. So I'm like, okay, I definitely cannot stay here. There was also like this weird smell. I'm very sensitive to smells, and the bed, definitely, I need the comfortable bed. I need my good sleep. So the next day I'm like, okay, I want to stay at a different place, and that made a huge difference. We were able to do how many songs in one day? I can't remember.
I think we knocked out 6.
Like tons of songs.
The busiest day, we knocked out 6 songs in one day, which was huge. And I think it's a big misconception that a lot of times vocalists can be very high maintenance, I guess. But when you take into account that your entire body is your instrument,
yes,
you have to take care of it. Just like if a drummer comes in with a broken drum set, or they left it in the car in the cold, or if the lugs aren't properly oiled, that drum set's not going to sound great. If she didn't get good sleep, if she didn't eat well, if you're not exercising, even though you didn't get to do it this week, but you're taking care of your body when you're not in the studio, like that's all encompassing. So,
well, also like learning your, like understanding how you work best, understanding your body, right? Like I know how much I can push and when I have to shut up. And many times I would say, okay, I need 15-20 minutes break, no talking at all, or like I'm just gonna lay down, or then stretch, move my body, complete silence, and then get re-energized and start again. So definitely knowing, understanding how you work best. It's not fun to hurt yourself, right? Like it's not about hurting your vocal cords or push it to the limit where you're unable to do what you love, but you know, knowing what's that edge that you can reach without hurting yourself.
And maybe engineers out there who don't work with a lot of vocalists, it is very much a communication thing. You constantly check in with the singer. Do you need a minute? Because if I push you too hard on like day 2 and I hurt your voice, or you're trying to be polite and you just want to do what I ask you to do, and we get in that moment, in that flow, and you push a little too hard, the rest of the week is shot. So it's a very keeping open communication. Do you need a break? Do you need a drink? And we ended with time left. And that many songs in that amount of days, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like building them from the ground up. So that was very cool. Do you have anything else that was just surprising about the studio, I guess? Like this being your first...
Your ability to sit down and produce and be so effective. Like, I'm like, are you gonna stand up and take a break? But aside of that...
No, engineers don't take breaks.
Oh my God, guys, you need breaks too. Jeremy, you are a beast. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Like just seeing your ability to keep up with everything, attention to detail, even translating songs to make sure that you're understanding the meaning, what I'm trying to say, how I'm trying to say, why this way versus the other way. I mean, that was very impressive. I don't think I've ever seen anyone.
No, I wasn't looking for compliments there, but that was a good point. Like, because all of this was, except for one song, this was all in Spanish.
In Spanish, yeah.
So it was really important, like, especially when you're producing a vocal and trying to get at the emotion of what the character's saying in this song. We had to look at the Spanish version right next to the English version, because I'm not a native speaker. I know some words, but I definitely can't have a conversation with you in Spanish. So understanding, at least on the roughest form, of what those translations were, what you guys were trying to say, what emotion you're trying to convey, like, otherwise I'm shot. And you would do that just the same with with an English lyricist. And I don't feel like that should change just because this is in a different language. And honestly, it was kind of fun because
it was great.
yeah, I got to focus just on the emotion, like, and without impressing my own interpretation of the lyrics. Like, it was kind of interesting for my part too. Well, thanks for sitting down and doing this. It's rare that I get to talk to a vocalist right after a session like this. I'm tired. I'm sure you're tired.
I am tired too.
Let's get out of here.
But happy.
So what'd you guys think? She was just a joy to work with, and the whole band was a joy to work with. It was a really cool experience. There were a lot of interesting roadblocks that we had to overcome, as you do with any full album. But these are good people making good tunes, and I'm glad I got the chance to sit down and talk with her and kind of share that with you guys. If you guys want to support the channel, I have some new IR packs. Go down there, check that out. I put a link in the description. If you like what we're doing here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for more, hit the bell while you're at it, and I am Resident Loser Jeremy. I will see you in the next one. Ah, it doesn't cover it.